What creates a fighter? Is it genetics, talent, a great coach? Sometimes it's something far darker. Fellow historians, across over 300 interviews, we've heard stories from men like War Machine, Phil Baroni, and Jeffrey Epstein's former bodyguard, Igor Zinoviev. But I can honestly say this is one of the darkest life stories we have ever covered. Imagine growing up in a home where your mother is trapped by addiction and prostitution, where drug dealers, addicts, and violent strangers constantly move through your house, where safety doesn't exist, childhood doesn't exist, and every day is about survival. That was Drew McFedries' reality. His father, a gifted athlete with tremendous potential, played virtually no role in raising him. Instead, Drew became the protector. With a younger brother and two little sisters, surrounded by dangerous adults, he learned that at an early age, if he couldn't fight, the people he loved may pay the price. His mother was eventually murdered. Drew himself was stabbed. Every statistic says that his life should have ended in prison, addiction, or an early grave. Instead, he walked into a gym and became one of the most feared knockout artists ever to compete in mixed martial arts. This is the remarkable tale of Drew McFedries. Welcome to the show. I am MMA insider and Herb Dean's dog sitter, Joey Venti, and you're listening to the MMA History Podcast, the only podcast dedicated 100% to the preservation of mixed martial arts history. Interviews and stories about the early days of MMA direct from the men who lived it. Hundreds of interviews, thousands of hours of research, all conducted by the most obsessed mind in the business, the MMA detective Mike Davis. Join us as we document the history of the sport we all love. Fellow historians, welcome back to the MMA History Podcast. I am Joey Venti. I'm with the MMA detective Mike Davis, and today we have a special episode. Our guest today was one of the most exciting and dangerous middleweights of his era, former UFC contender Drew McFedries. Thank you for joining us.
No problem, guys. It's a good morning.
So, Drew, what we usually always start these off with is, what are we doing today? Somebody wanted to find Drew McFedries, where would they find you?
I'm really a person. I mind my own business. So I like I fish. I like my bass fishing. More recently, I have not been at the gym. I kind of been staying away from the gym. So I ride my bike, been doing bikes a lot. You see my fat tire bikes in the background.
Mm-hmm.
I've been riding fat tire bikes, so a lot of trails and things around my area. We have some pretty good trails around here. I like to be outside, riding my bike. I go fishing, kind of outdoorsy. So most of the time you can't find me. I don't think there's anybody that could come knock on my door right now.
But you have a YouTube channel. How would one find that?
Drew McFedries. I'm really easy to find. Anybody Googles my name, you can find my YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it.
Yeah, you're not on social media.
All of them.
Okay, good. All right. So when you really look at your career, it almost looks like, man, he had a couple fights and then he goes right to the UFC. We've actually referred to it as privileged. Like, man, he had a real privileged career as compared to other Midwest guys. But then when you really dig into it, your life story and how your career came about is much different than probably 99% of the fight community.
Yeah, you are right. But again, from the outside looking in, I could see where you could get that kind of opinion or thought process. But to me, there was nothing easy about where I got to. And not only that, the way my manager would put it is, he goes, I have dozens of fights for grapplers. And he goes, I don't have any fights for strikers, guys who finish fights with strikes. He goes, so, guys don't mind being submitted, but guys just don't want to face strikers. Like, and I'm not saying I'm him, but I couldn't imagine going to fight Mirko Krokop,
Right.
like the stress level of just going to fight a guy like that. But if you go fight, trying to think of a guy, um,
Like Matt Lindland, a good ground and pound, not
a
a submission.
wrestler,
Yeah,
a wrestler
yeah,
or a
yeah.
grappler guy, those guys they can get a fight any old day
It's
because
true.
nobody
Yeah,
minds getting wrestled. They don't mind getting worn out and beaten at the cards.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
So that was how my manager put it. Yeah.
Um, so your beginnings, I have at Miletich Fighting System, but did you ever work with Jeff Perez over at Alley Cat Boxing?
I did, but that was a bit later.
Okay.
To be very honest, I never met Perez. I have heard of his place, and I had met Perez years and years after I started training.
So then where do your hands come from? Like
um,
they got to start somewhere because
I'm going to say this. I grew up in a way that most people didn't.
yeah.
And so having to defend myself as a young man was a normal thing. It was something I had to do often. So I'm not going to say I'm gifted or any of that stuff. What I'm going to say is, um, at a very young age, I had to learn to defend myself. I had to, and so that might be the cause. I don't really
Okay.
know.
Okay. So when Joey and I do our research, like I'm in the Midwest, Joey's in California, so this is more my wheelhouse in an interview like
Right.
this. So when we kind of spread our web, obviously Miletich Fighting System had a legendary, they call it legendary sparring sessions, but
Yes,
but but that's a kind of a fancy way of saying you guys beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
And
yes,
and the one name synonymous with that is yours.
okay.
So like for me to sit here and go, all right, Drew, so you just kind of learned boxing at Miletich, but you kind of went in there as an immediate enforcer.
No, it
Uh,
wasn't that way. Um,
that's what the rumor is.
Yeah.
okay, well,
Like you
I,
could really handle yourself and they go ahead.
I gotta say that, okay, I've always been involved in sports. So what I was trying to tell you guys earlier was I've always kind of been in the light wherever I was, like as long as I can remember, and I kind of take it back to like an elementary school, third grade, fourth grade thing. When I hit the playground, I don't know what it's like getting picked second. I don't.
Mm.
Um, I don't ever remember a time where I got bullied or picked on or something like that. Like, if anything ever did occur in that way, the kids were way bigger than me, way older than me, but still, I guess I never really backed down and away from anything. So again, I would say that would be the early start of it. Like always being involved in sports, always being athletic, good hand-eye coordination, good timing. Timing's important. Um, and then leading into that, I'd say that my earliest so-called combat sport was we started doing these boxing matches at Stars and Stripes, and that was like the kickstart to probably MMA.
So was this kind of did you also do the Toad Holler fights as well?
I don't know. No, never heard that name.
Okay, so it's for Josh Neer, Jeremy Stevens. It was always like a Tuesday night, and they'd pull people from the audience. So Stars and Stripes was like Davenport. Toad
Yes.
Holler was more towards Des Moines. Okay. Okay.
Josh Neer and Jeremy Stevens are from Des Moines.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're like 2.5, 3 hours away from me.
All right. So you're Davenport. You got to remember, there's a little bit on you online, but there's not a lot.
Yeah, I
So,
got you.
so when I look at Davenport, I see your style of fighting, your obvious, your hand-eye coordination. Did you ever have any interactions with Michael Nunn?
As a kid, I did when I was young.
Did you?
Yeah, actually, Davenport's a pretty small place. Like the Quad Cities is not a very big place. So Michael Nunn was kind of a regular around my neighborhood, at my house. My mom knew some people that were involved in his camp, so to speak, like kind of like handlers, you know what I mean? Because he was making real money back then. He was making real money. But yeah, Michael Nunn was around. There were some other guys too that don't get me wrong, Michael Nunn was great. I'm not gonna even begin to try to.
Oh yeah, legend.
Oh, absolutely amazing. And you know what? Have you ever met him? Did you ever seen him or met him?
I've talked to him on the phone several times and tried to get him on here. He's got a phenomenal story as well, which
Yeah.
I think it's criminal what took place to him within the legal system.
Yeah.
But no, I've never met him in person, but man, it's one of my childhood heroes. But go ahead. I mean, I only watched him on a TV, so.
He has a very unique build, kind of like I got to train with John Jones for a couple weeks, a while. It's been a long time, but John Jones reminds me of kind of like a Michael Nunn, where his actual build is hard to beat. I mean, he's got these ridiculously long arms and wide shoulders. He's very wiry, and especially in his day, he's very wiry, and he just had the build for boxing. He just had it. You can't reach him, and he can reach you. I mean, it's hard to beat. And I got to see him box quite a few times here locally.
Okay. All right. Before we get into your career, we got a couple of more questions.
Yeah.
So, and dude, this is just me fishing. I don't know. Dave Menne used to supplement his training at Miletich Fighting Systems.
Yeah.
Were you ever present at any of those camps?
Yeah, and I met Dave Menne early on.
Okay.
And there's a little bit more to that story, and I don't know if you want to go into that, but
well, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, we did have like this amateur championship thing, and it is actually a great story. But the end result was, and this was when I first met Dave Menne and found out he was the 185-pound champion. But he had like a protege, a guy who was like my age, and he was training this guy, and this was supposed to be like the next wave of 185 pounders, but Dave had never met me. And so we had this, it was like an amateur tournament. See, back in the day, we never fought in cages, and we fought tournaments. We didn't fight one guy in a night. Like my fighting, like 10 years later after the start, I was like, this is easy, like compared to fighting 3 or 4 guys a night, But we had this amateur championship, which technically I won the championship, whatever.
Who was his 185 pounder? Was it Daryl Gunthmiller?
I can't remember his name right offhand. I know I think he had like a giant dragon tattoo on his back or something crazy. Okay. I don't really remember the kid, but he was one of Dave Menne's so-called proteges.
Okay.
And this kid was basically brought there to win. And Dave had never met me before, and I don't think they were anticipating me being in that tournament. And so technically I won that tournament. I met Dave Menne later. We had a good conversation. His conversation was like, you're huge. And he goes, this guy is not ready for you. Because like me at 21 years old, I was just a different person, just completely different build or type, And Dave was like, this guy is just he's not prepared, and I'm not going to, he didn't want to like so-called ruin his career too early.
Right.
Okay. So were you at the training session prior to his fight with Phil Baroni?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
No.
So he got knocked out a few weeks, or maybe a week prior at
Okay.
Miletich prior to his fight with Baroni.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember training with him then.
Okay. Um, did you ever train with Steve Rusk?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
How would you describe Joey? Just for our listeners, Steve Rusk is the guy that when Matt Lindland came and worked out at Miletich, Rusk took Lindland down on more than one occasion, and Lindland refused to get off the mat
Refused to
because
rotate out, right?
he couldn't believe that this no-name wrestler was getting ahead, getting the advantage of him. So go ahead.
So what was the question about?
Well, your experiences with Steve Rusk.
Initially meeting him, I would say that he was so insanely strong. There's only a few guys that I've met in my lifetime that were so strong. And Matt Hughes is one of them. Matt Hughes is one of them for sure. But Steve Rusk is his level of strength is you can't measure it really. And another thing about wrestlers is a lot of wrestlers aren't like on the weights. They usually don't bench a lot. They don't squat a lot. You know, they're not like weights strong.
Right.
I'm telling you. And here's another thing. Steve never really overpowered me. It was the fact that I just couldn't last as long, especially when I first started training. I had no cardio, but I had never really faced anybody that strong in my life up until meeting him. I can't think of any other guys. There's only a few other people that I could maybe mention that would be close, but Steve Rusk is probably one of the strongest men I've ever met in my life.
Wow. So how do you're Davenport, you're running the streets, not a lot of oversight. How do you wind up over at Miletich? How does that connection happen?
Okay, so I wouldn't say running the streets. I wouldn't put it that way.
Okay.
So the basis would be the lead into that would be I basically quit college. I was working at this bar. They started doing these. They were like, "Hey, they're gonna start doing the fights this summer, like they do these every summer." And I was like, "Okay." And my buddies were telling me I should do it, so I started doing these boxing matches. And back then we called it NHB or
Right.
Yeah.
they called us pit fighters or NHB, and we used to
Yeah.
fight in rings. It wasn't. We never had cages in the beginning. So some people were kind of talking about me in general because I had won quite a few of these. And my soon to be manager thought that I was sent there to mess with the Miletich guys. So he was pairing me with bigger and bigger guys, you know, like trying to get me beat up kind of thing.
Right.
And I was winning. And so then I think the thing that tipped it all over was Lee Murray came into town, and I fought Lee Murray. And honestly, I probably should have beat him. I was unexperienced. I had no training.
So were you a part of the Miletich camp when Murray was there, or was it you just brought in?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those.
Yeah. So Lee Murray comes into town, and I remember seeing him, and I was like, "You guys are not tricking me at all." Like he just had big hands, and he was rich. He was shredded. I was like, "You guys aren't tricking me at all," but I'll fight him. I was like, "I don't care." And we went through the first round. We got into the second round. I think it was like 3 or 4 minutes in the second round. I just got tired. He tapped me on a arm bar. I didn't even know what arm bar was, you know. And so after that match, and again, there's stories to all this, but after that match, Pat basically said, "Hey, man, you can't be out here." He goes, "You got to come train with us." He goes, you can't." He goes, "I can't allow you to be around this area and not be in my gym." So he
That's
goes,
cool.
he was like, "Just come to the gym, whatever you want." That's what he told me. He's like, "Just come to the gym, whatever you want."
So you went through, you made it to the third round with Lee Murray with no training.
Not third. We were late in the second. I just
Okay.
gassed out, honestly.
Joey, we got this guy beating up a lot of our gym members. We got this guy from Europe we're gonna bring in and throw against.
We're gonna throw Lee Murray at him.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, when I met Lee Murray, when I first saw him, back then, when you walked in a room, you knew who the fighters were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I ended up talking to Shoney Carter about this later, but younger guys started mastering the look of a fighter, not being the fighter, but the look. But back then when I started, I started in like 2001. When you walked in a room, you knew the guys. You knew who they were. Like you knew that guy's a fighter right there. Like for sure. The guy with the big traps and the cauliflower ear, and he's like, he's ripping and roaring.
The stuff you can't fake. Yeah, the stuff you can't fake. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a real deal. So when I met Lee, and me and Lee ended up being good friends, later. But yeah, Lee was tall, he was shredded, he was definitely in shape. Big, like I said, he just had these big hands. I remember his hands. He had really big hands. Yeah, it was a good match. It's a pretty good match.
So Pat Miletich has that conversation with you. Were you initially receptive to it, or
yeah?
Why didn't you go prior? Were you just waiting to be asked, or did you just not think about it?
No, it wasn't even on my radar. I had a lot of other things going on. I had heard of Pat Miletich. We went to the same high school. I had heard of Pat Miletich. I kind of knew who he was. I didn't know him very well, but I knew who he was. It wasn't on my radar. I had other things. I had other things on my mind. I really, really wanted to finish college so bad. Still to this day, I want to. So I had really I know that people get into MMA like, oh, I'm gonna go for the gold, and one day I'm gonna be an MMA champion. And my vision was not that. It was not that.
So April 7th, 2001, you fight in a 4-man tournament with Extreme Challenge 39. How soon prior, like how long had you been training with Miletich prior to that fight?
3 or 4 months, maybe.
Okay.
What year was that?
2001.
Oh yeah. I bet 3 months. I bet I trained 3 months for that.
Okay.
And when I say training, I probably showed up to the gym 4 times a week.
How was your original? People always talk about a Miletich fighting system's initiation. How was yours?
I don't remember any initiation.
You already went through it.
Yeah. He got to go around that process.
You think you already went through it with Murray?
Yeah. I don't. And again, there's a lot of stories here, but this is, and you guys will probably find this to be funny. So I'm talking to you about this bar I worked at, and the show is coming to this bar, and I didn't know anything about it. I was just a guy working as a bouncer, making my little $50 a night, $65 a night, working as a bar back, running ice and stuff like that. And I didn't know anything about it. So when the show comes finally to the bar, they're like, "Hey, Drew, would you mind coming in? We'll pay you a little extra to help, set the stuff up, set the ring up, things like that." So I show up. It's like 5 o'clock, whatever. Clock in. like, all right, what do you guys want me to do? They're like, go pull the trailer up. We're going to get these beams out and hook, put the ring together. And there's this little short guy, and he's just looking at me. And I'm like, what are you looking at, shorty? Like, I'm just kind of giving him some shit. I wasn't like being mean. I was just like,
Yeah.
And he's just staring at me, so we're carrying this stuff in and out. We're helping each other set up the ring and stuff like that. And he's giving me, hey, will you throw the rope over here? I'm like, yeah. And so anyways, we were kind of going back and forth a little bit. And this happened multiple times within the next 3 to 4 weeks. And later, that guy turns out to be Matt Hughes. So right away, me and Matt Hughes always had this like playful yet it could get serious attitude toward each other. Like, and then do you guys know that Matt Hughes has a twin brother, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Mark Hughes. Yeah.
Okay. So again, this is all part of the story. Like, I go to the show and I show up, whatever, I walk in the door and I walk over to who I think is Matt Hughes. Like, what's up, short shit? And I'm like right in his face. And this guy, he's looking at me right in the eyes. He's like, I'm not Matt. And I go, you fucking look like, I was like, I'm giving him, like, because we always had this.
You mentioned that. Like, fuck you are Matt. Oh, yeah, you're not Matt. Okay.
It was Mark. It was Mark Hughes. And so that's how I got to know Mark Hughes. So, yeah, those were the days, man. Those were the days.
Oh, is that funny?
Yeah.
So you trained 3 months, and then April 7, 2001, Extreme Challenge 39, they put you in a 4-man tournament. You knock out Nick Gooley in 1:41, and then you knock out Jeff Tracy in 2:41. Was that kind of expected going into there? Was there pre-fight nerves? Was there jitters? Or was it business as usual?
You always have nerves. There's always some level of emotion. I have had fights where there was no emotion. That was a long time ago. I will say this about I know that one of those, probably the 2-minute one, I remember I kicked that guy, and I mean I slapped his rib cage really, really hard. And I think that's why I went 237, because I tried to use my legs.
Okay.
But other than that, I'd have probably finished it way earlier.
All right. So Joey, this is like, although it's 2 fights, it's his first actual night of fighting.
Right.
His second actual night of fighting was September 8th, 2001. He's got Randy Couture in the corner of Nate Quarry.
Yeah. Yep.
And you got the natural Randy Couture, the biggest name in the sport at this time, in the corner of the guy you're fighting.
I didn't think nothing of it.
Now, you had Miletich in your corner, right?
No. It wasn't often. Pat wasn't often in our corners. Or I shouldn't say our corners.
Your corner.
Pat wasn't often in my corner. I should say that.
Would you have Jason Black?
No. I think Jason Black was in my corner a few times. It just would depend on where we're going and who's got shows coming up and what we're all doing.
How would you describe your fight with Nate Quarry?
He took some shots that I know I gave him a couple of shots that I thought would have put him away. I'll just say in the end, I think I could have beat him. I just had zero cardio. I didn't even know what cardio was until later. I mean, at that point, for a fight to go longer than like 3 minutes for me was like amazing. Like,
well, you were out there with Jason Medina, Matt Hughes. I think those were the Miletich guys that that you were traveling with.
Okay, yeah. That was in
So
Utah. That was in Utah.
yeah, that was in Utah. So you had Medina and Hughes with you. So you and Matt, did you guys eventually kind of gel in terms of personalities?
No, it just, I think that, okay, like the air of okay, like for example, um, some of this stuff I kind of study like with animals and stuff like wolf packs and gorillas and so forth. Well, in a wolf pack, there's always an alpha, right? But the rest of the wolves, the alpha will lead, but the rest of the wolves sometimes will nip. They'll nip or bite at the alpha. And that's just to see if he's fresh. That's just to see if he'll still fight. And, I think that that was kind of my relationship with Matt. It was, I'll tell you this, like in the very beginning, me and Matt trained together a lot. And he would definitely wrestle with me. He would definitely grapple with me and he would spar with me um, quite often. But after about a year, he just completely quit sparring with me. Like he just said it didn't make any sense anymore, like, and I would work with him quite often, but we stopped sparring after about a year and a half or so.
So some people have described the culture at Miletich as two part. There was the Miletich fighting system, and then there was Team Hughes, and they were two separate entities working out in the same gym.
I wouldn't say that, no.
No,
But
okay.
I will say this. There were certain guys who kind of did whatever they wanted, and Matt was one of them, but that was his personality. Um, and without that personality, I don't think there would be a gym. I mean, without Jens Pulver, there is no gym, you know. I mean, because he just brought the energy. There's certain guys that bring energy to the gym, and that those two guys were one of them. I mean, Pat brought his own energy. I think that I was usually pretty relaxed. I wasn't in no rush. I never really, to be honest, like reflecting on it, looking back on it, I don't think I even took it that serious. Like the whole fighting thing, I was just like, whatever.
Hmm. So your second time of fighting, you're in Utah. So you got your plane ride out of the way. Is that your first plane ride ever?
No, no, no.
Okay. So on your Wikipedia, it says that a high school coach kind of pulled you aside and brought you over to Miletich. Is that not true?
No. That might be Robbie. Probably
That Robbie who?
Robbie Lawler.
Robbie Lawler? Did you know him in high school?
We went to the same high school.
At the same time?
Yes.
Well, holy shit, dude. What was his reputation like?
Well, there's again, like all these things, like there's so much detail that I have to leave out because you could just go on forever. But
Don't. That's
Yeah,
why we're here.
go.
Yeah, go ahead,
so
dude. Yeah.
I went to Bettendorf High School. Robbie was like a few years younger than me, but a lot of people don't know that Robbie has a brother named Frank. Frank is like a year. He's probably like 2 years older than me. So I think when I was a sophomore, Frank was a senior. Now Frank looks just like Robbie. They look just alike, except for Frank is bigger. He's
Oh my
more
God.
biceps. Robbie's a little smaller. And Robbie was always just the scrappy kid because Frank used to kind of mess with Robbie all the time. But Robbie, I met Robbie when he was probably like 14 years old. I think I was a junior. I think he was a freshman. That's probably when I met him. He was always a scrappy kid, little wrestler dude. That was Robbie. He's a funny guy. He's a funny kind of character. You definitely didn't want to get him fired up. Just-
He, at a very, very young age, made quite a reputation for himself.
yes, but I think that his coach brought him to Pat so that he had something to do after school, you know. Like he didn't. I mean, Robbie liked to wrestle, but I mean, I don't think he liked football. He wasn't going to play soccer or baseball. He wasn't going to play basketball. I mean, he liked to play sports, but I don't. I mean, for the most part, he just liked to wrestle, you know.
Did it surprise you seeing Robbie excel at such an early part of his career?
No, he was always fast. He was really fast. When he was small, I should say small. When he was younger, he was really, really fast, really quick. You know, he was built really good. You know, his good shoulders on him, thick neck. He was really quick. But no, I wasn't surprised at all.
Um, so your third evening of fighting is an 8-man tournament, November 17th, 2001. And let me kind of preface this. Your first one, it's listed as amateur. Your fight with Nate Quarry is listed as pro. And this 8-man tournament is listed as amateur. Did you get paid for the amateur tournaments? Oh, it's so bogus.
Never. I never made any money ever. I mean, even the money you would make back then, like you spent way more money to get there than you did to get paid. Like you never made a dime. Like when you talked about the Nate Corey match, and I'm just being serious about this, like I think I might have made $500 or something, but it wasn't even. I mean, that was nothing. I mean, I already spent all that money before I got there, you know.
Yeah. Did you have to pay for your own travel?
That was the only thing that I got was pretty much the plane ticket and the hotel stay. And I think I stayed with I'm not sure if I'm not totally positive. I might have stayed with Rick Gravison on that trip.
So Rick Gravison, Joey's an old school cat from the Midwest. He old school jail guard. He's got he's probably about 50 fights. I like Gravison. I like him. All right. November 17th, 2001. You are in 8-man tournament, Extreme Challenge Trials. Danny Anderson, you win it with the triangle. Mike Gritty, corner stoppage. And Daryl Guntmiller was supposed to be the finals, was canceled. That's kind of why I guessed he's a Minnesota guy. I guessed that maybe that was the time you were talking about with Dave Menne.
Did he train out of Dave Menne's camp?
Yes.
That'd probably been it then.
Okay, so I was right. That's Daryl Guntmiller. Okay, yeah. Guntmiller was super tough. Super tough. I liked him. Cool cat.
And Dave just said he's not ready. Like,
well, the surprising thing is you got a triangle, so you're starting to get your submissions. You're comfortable on your back, and a corner stoppage, which, man, Mike Gritty probably is a really good nail and took an incredible amount of punishment. And then with Guntmiller being canceled, like you made quite the impression.
yeah, I would say so. I mean, a lot of these matches, and another thing is you're talking about all the stuff that you know of on record, you know. There were so many different matches, MMA matches. You call it MMA, we called it NHB, pit fighting. There were so many different names they called it. And like I said, we never fought in cages in the early days. Yeah. Sometimes I would do a boxing match and an MMA match. There was a lot going on back then. I mean, we would just do it, you know, like, and I was working, just so you know, like I would just take my clothes off, put my shorts on, go fight and put my stuff back on and go back to work.
So you had mentioned that you fought a couple Miletich guys prior to Lee Murray. Do you happen to know any of their names?
Some of them are local guys. So there was a guy named Mike Hughes who they had okay, do you guys know Joe Slick?
Dude, come on, bro. Of course.
Hey, I'm just asking questions.
Yeah.
So if you know Joe Slick,
tough as shit. Joe Slick was legit.
Yeah, he was good.
Died way too early.
Yeah, and that's a whole other story. It's sad, but Joe Slick kind of had a little group of friends, And I'll just say,
was Brandon Adamson in there in that crew?
he hung out with him at one
Okay.
point. Yeah.
Okay.
But Brandon came around way later.
Yeah.
In the time period we're talking about.
Sure.
But Joe Slick had a little group of friends, and it's kind of like in my position, nobody knew who I was. So when we would do these boxing matches, they were throwing guys at me from the gym that were like from his little clique and group, and I beat all those guys. Well, then they were trying to get me to fight Joe Slick, and I was like, I don't care. Like, I'll do it. It didn't matter to me. And I think the night I was gonna fight Joe Slick, somebody talked me out of it, or somehow it got stopped, or it didn't happen. Because I think, Joe Slick he was, like you said, he was legit. At the time, he was like top dog. And I didn't even know who Joe Slick was.
Beat Jason DeLucia in UFC, I think.
He fought Manoa. I think he fought. We should probably look him up. I know he fought Chris Hansen. He for sure fought Chris Hansen. Dennis Kang fought Dennis Kang. Like the guy's legit.
Oh, dude. Joe was amazing. He was he knew how to, like, with jiu-jitsu, he knew how to bait you. Like, he knew how to set you up to make you kind of like fall into a submission, instead of, like, he didn't submit you. You kind of just put yourself in that position to get submitted. And he knew how to do that. But at that time, I think that it was kind of a twofold situation for us. And I didn't know Joe at all. I think that the conversation was kind of like this. Well, you go fight this guy, you'll probably beat him, but you might get hurt, And Joe, it wasn't worth it for Joe. You're going to fight me for free.
All right.
And then for me, it was like, well, this guy, what is he going to do? Potentially what? Choke me out?
But, dude, Joe Slick had some hands, bro. He had some hands.
He wasn't a good boxer.
I think for you, but Joe could hit hard. He ain't touching you. It's true.
Yeah.
Subtract yourself from the conversation. Joey and I were concerned. Maybe not so much.
I think he was good. I do think he was good. I mean, but in my opinion, he'd be very basic.
Yeah. Okay. So you win that 8-man tournament. What is the prize for winning this amateur 8-man tournament for Monty Cox?
Nothing.
Was there a trophy, a belt,
a medal, anything?
A pro contract?
No, there was nothing.
Ego boost. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, you got nothing. I like literally a lot of these shows. I think that show we're talking about, I really believe that was during the day. Like, the show kind of happened more during the day, and I did the show, and then I went to work that night, same place.
That's crazy.
That's actually really cool. You beat Jason Autry, and then you have your flight to Canada, June 15th, 2002. Against a very, very tough Claude Patrick.
Patrick was tough.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? He was young. We were both young. But my only thoughts to that match was he just wasn't as athletic as I was.
Wow.
He was really good. I don't think he was the athlete I was.
He put the work in afterward. I think when I look at Claude's career, I think this was the fight that actually helped allow him to find the next gear.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
because he was really good on the ground. He could strike, but he wasn't like. I don't think he was amazing on his feet. He was pretty good though, and he was definitely really good on the ground. And like I said, I just don't think he was the athlete he needed to be that day.
Yeah,
but I really liked him. I like the guy. I really do. Him and Loazu. I like David Loazu.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty cool card. You had Justin Brackman on a card, or Bruckman on a card. You had Michael Radnov,
I think St. Pierre might have been on that card.
St. Pierre's on a card. I
Yep.
mean, Sean Payne Peters is on the card.
Mark Hominick.
Homnick. So you had all of the yeah, you had Sam Stout and crew that were there watching. Rich Franklin's on the card. Like it's Menjivar versus Jeff Coran. Like it's a legit, really good card.
Yeah, it was. That was a good show. That was a great, and you know what is so sad about that show is I had a camera and I remember taking a bunch of pictures and I had them on a disc and I lost the disc. But it was like, you guys know who Meat Truck is, Kerry Shaw?
Dude, come on, bro.
I don't know. I'm
Yes.
just asking.
Yeah, Cincinnati, dude. Don't even ask. Just throw the name. We got this.
Okay,
Yes.
so I had pictures of me, Rich Franklin, Kerry Shaw, Monty Cox, the whole crew, man. Like you name it, we had pictures of everybody. And if I still had that disc, oh my God, it'd be priceless. Priceless. Because it was like the first time I met George St. Pierre, and he was a little skinny kid.
Mm.
George St. Pierre was a little skinny kid, and that was the first time I ever met him.
Was Matt Brown there?
I don't remember Matt Brown being there.
I don't think so. Matt Brown was more of a B-side for the Rich Franklin camp at that time. So he was kind of like the bait that they would put out there to go get your win against this guy, but we need our travel wins.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you have a good experience in Canada? Did you get paid?
Again, it was probably next to nothing.
You've seen the
Actually,
world at this point, though, you know?
yeah, but like I said, a lot of this stuff, I was just kind of flying by the seat of my pants. I had other things on my mind. So like, I think I might have made like $500, dude. I think that's it. I honestly, a lot of these shows, I never made money. I never made any money. I might have made $500 on that deal.
Yeah. So you said a few times that there's other things on your mind. What's the pullback in regards to you going all in with MMA at this point? Like, where's the pushback coming from?
Well, one thing you said there, the going all in, I don't think I ever really went all in until I was like already in the UFC. Um, I think as a younger guy, I just mentally I was in a different world, like I had a lot going on at home. Um, my main concern was for my brother, my little brother, my two sisters. Um, a lot of the things that were going on at home, that was my main concern, and making sure that somehow, some way that my little brother got to grow up. Like my biggest fear ever was that I would lose my little brother, and that was a very hard thing to deal with at that time.
Are you two still close?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to him. We don't have the best relationship, but I still talk to him.
Yeah, sometimes there can be a little bit of resentment when the older brother takes on a father role at a very young age.
Yeah, there's more to it, but yeah.
So soon after Claude Patrick, you get diagnosed with Crohn's disease.
Uh-huh.
Was there something like physically kind of happening to where like red flags were getting set off to where, or was it just a standardized doctor test that you took and they told you?
Oh no, it wasn't like that at all. I might have had one situation that I recall, like, man, I think I got a problem. And there was one situation where this particular thing with my stomach happened. It was like an overnight deal, and it went away. And again, there's a lot of detail that needs to be added to this. The time period you're talking about, me fighting Claude Patrick, in between that and me so-called getting diagnosed with Crohn's or ulcerative colitis or whatever you want to call it. I was in amazing shape. Okay. Like I had probably never gotten into shape like that ever in my life. I was probably 22 years old, stronger than I ever been. I actually built my cardio so I could actually had really great cardio. When I initially went to the hospital, they told me there's nothing wrong with me. Like you're completely fine. And so it was very, very difficult for me to even get admitted because they're like, you're a top level athlete. Like there's nothing wrong with you. That's what they were telling me. Um, so I was sick for quite a while, and then it was actually my girlfriend at the time, and I have to give her credit no matter what the situation. But I was in the emergency room. I was, I felt like I was going to die. I really felt like I was going to die. And she just went and found a doctor and was like, "You have to come in here and see him." And she got this doctor in there. The doctor saw me, got me admitted to the hospital, and he's like, "Yeah, this dude's about to die." I was gonna go into renal failure because I couldn't hold anything in. I had no water in me. I couldn't eat food. I was done. So then technically I got the diagnosis, but nobody really knows what happened. I don't even know.
Yeah. So shortly here, so June 15th, 2002 is Claude Patrick. The diagnosis takes place. And then your next fight is May 21st, 2003. So it's almost a full year off. But in between, you have a canceled bout in Super Bowl in Hawaii against Stephan Potvin.
Yeah. So I was getting ready for that show, and that's when it happened.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, and it's funny that you knew that. You brought that up. I was getting ready for Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That was my ticket. At that time, I'll tell you right now, when you talk about like, and I'm not the type of person like, I'm not good at talking about myself. But we were talking about Steve Rusk earlier. Um, Within that time period of me building my cardio and whatever else, like I'll give Steve Rusk some problems, some real problems.
That means you're ready.
I was ready. And it was the craziest thing because I mean, I'm telling you, I was in shape. And another thing is, a lot of people have never seen a young me. If you saw me at 205 pounds at 22 years old, I was pretty lean and mean. And all of a sudden, my stomach just turned on me, and I don't know what. I don't know. I don't think the doctors ever really knew. Um, they just started They just wanted to treat me and rehydrate me and get me eating again. And that just went on forever.
At this time, you're working at Scotty's Auction Services.
Yeah, you could say that. My whole life.
So, I mean, based on my limited knowledge of your life, there's not a father figure in your life.
Never.
Yet, some of the mechanical things like working on cars, fixing furniture, and things of that nature, you have those skills. Do you learn that at Scotty's? I'm assuming.
No, no. So Scotty's Auction Service is my grandfather's business.
Okay.
So my grandmother and my grandfather started that right around the time I was born. Okay. So I was there my entire life. Yes, the auction offered me opportunities to learn things that I probably wouldn't have learned otherwise. But most of that stuff I learned on my own. I didn't have anybody to teach me. I didn't have anybody to push me or tell me what to do, those kind of things. But I did learn a lot of things there. Yeah. As far as my, just to level the playing field before those questions come up. My mom didn't play a role in my life. My dad wasn't around and my mom didn't play a role. My mom was always high, passed out, or on her next visit to get some drugs. That was that. She was always on a mission to get drugs, high or passed out. That was about the three phases you got.
Okay, so at what part in your life did that type of activity start?
It
Like,
was
how old were you?
my entire life.
Oh my God.
Wow.
How the fuck are you not in prison?
Well, that's a big discussion. I don't know. You know, I've discussed this many times over with so many different people.
Well, here, do you drink or use drugs?
No, and again, guys, I'm gonna be fair, and I know this is an interview and stuff like that. And I got just so you know, I got my YouTube going as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair about it, you know, like I've had my moments drinking, but like more like casual or with my buddies, or you know, when you're in a high school, you have a couple beers or whatever. Um, but I was never into drugs. Had my moments drinking, but mostly like big football games and you know big events and stuff. Me and my buddies would you know have fun.
Moderate. Yeah, moderate.
Yeah,
Okay.
but no, I was never like into drugs ever, and there's always drugs around me. That's for sure. And nobody partied like my friends.
Do you think it was life examples that allowed you to stay away from that, like your understanding of it?
Absolutely.
Isn't that wild? Isn't that
So
wild?
so this is why, and I was just having this conversation with somebody else. I was just having this conversation um, maybe a couple days ago, and I was saying that, and I remember saying this: my younger years, growing up anyway, it introduced me to all the worst elements of life, and you know, because people talk about, oh, you exercise so much control. I don't have to exercise control when I see all the examples and I see what happens when you do these things. So
Yeah.
again, just to air it out and get it out of the way. You know, my mom was always involved in drugs. There was always drugs around me, hard drugs. Weed wasn't even a question. There was always weed. There was always a joint. There was always a pipe. There was always something around me. Um, there was always bent spoons in the bathroom, and
Oh,
you know, like, and when I was little, you know, I was really young. I'd be like, "Who the hell's bending up all the spoons?" You know, I'd be like, I didn't know what it was.
it's got black stuff on the bottom of it, right? Yeah.
So, but where I'm going with it is what led me into this is you were asking about direction, and I've had this conversation multiple times. One of those conversations is with my high school sweetheart, so to speak. We had a really long, lengthy conversation about this because she was like, "Who told you to go to college? Like, who told you to play sports? Who told you to go to school?" And I was like, "Nobody." It's like nobody. But um, to be very honest, I saw a lot of prostitution. I saw a lot of drug use. Um, Drugs were always around. Um, Not only was it around, it was like right there all the time. It was always there.
Do you think like when you were in school there was a stigma with your last name because of some of the activities that maybe some of the local people were aware of?
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, there's nothing I can do about it. I can only control me, right? So like even at a young age, people were saying things to me when I was young, like third grade-ish, as far back as I can remember, like third grade, people would say things to me that I didn't even understand. And I was like, okay, but when I kind of started coming around was more like sixth, seventh grade, I started to understand what was really happening. And I mean, there's nothing I could do about it. I just control
Did
me.
do you guys ever have any issues with DCFS?
Absolutely, all the time.
Oh my God, what a
Really?
nightmare. That.
All the time. And I think, and I didn't know it, right? Like, even as a kid, like, I didn't know it, but there were many times, and I'm just going to put this out there too. I was a pretty mouthy little kid. Me and my mom got in arguments all the time. And in my family, a lot of my family members, basically my mom's sisters, and she has a brother, and everybody around my mom always knew that my mom, she was a fighter. She could fight. And my mom would whoop me like you wouldn't believe. And I'm just saying this, like, not that I didn't deserve it. Like, sometimes I think I actually deserve some of them whoopings because, like, I really got ruthless. And so, um, we would get into it, and then I would go to school and I'd have bruises or I'd have something would be going on with me, and the teachers would report it. And then it's DFS, like Department of Family or Department of Children or whoever it is,
Yeah,
basically.
so Joey, what they do is they'll see if the kid is wearing the same clothes every day, or if there's some hygiene issues or something like that. And the DCFS is, albeit at times, an incredibly good organization.
Right.
Oftentimes they intentionally ignore what they should be focusing on and kind of weaponizing it against the things that they should just kind of let go.
Right.
It just depends on the human being working for them and what their agenda is.
Right.
It is an organization you do want any part of. Go ahead.
My real opinion of a lot of these family services and so on is the people they have working for them are so detached and do not understand these families and what goes on in them and what goes on in the streets and whatever else. Missing a meal was the least of my worries. Like that was not an issue.
I don't mean to interrupt. Joey, oftentimes it's a really nice, posh suburban kid coming in, wanting to make a difference, having no idea what they're seeing. It's kind of like a gang guy in the city of Chicago, the people that apply for gangs. It's like, you're from the suburbs. You don't know gangs, but what? It's the same thing with DCFS oftentimes. I agree with that.
think people are so detached from what is actually going
reality.
on.
Yeah.
They have no idea what's really happening. And I think the bad thing about my situation was I couldn't really articulate it. I couldn't tell you what the real problem, because you're a kid, like all I knew was me and my mom got in an argument. That's all I knew.
Yeah, a kid's cry for help oftentimes doesn't have the verbal intricacies needed to really properly describe the situations. Wow.
Well, if you don't know what a healthy setting would look like, how can you describe your lack of that?
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't really start coming around to that until I was probably in like 7th grade or so.
Yeah. So your father not in the picture at all. Have you ever met your dad?
Yeah, it's just you gotta know my dad. I have a better relationship with him now, and I'm gonna add to that through faith. Through faith, I have a decent relationship with my dad now, but he never played a role. And I'll tell you a great story to kind of put this all together. Me and my dad have a better relationship now, and one day he sends me this picture, and it's of a tape, a VHS tape, and it says such and such Bettendorf High School football highlights. And he says, "Hey, I found this tape." And he goes, "I only know one kid that went to Bettendorf." He goes, "Must be yours." He goes, "I don't know how I got it." And I must have sent him this tape years and years ago because I don't know how he got it other than me shipping it to him. So he says, "I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take it downtown. I'll have them put it digital and I put it on YouTube." Okay. So he put it on a chip. He sent me the chip and I loaded it to YouTube. And I asked him, I said, "Dad, did you ever watch the video? Have you ever watched it?" He goes, "I don't think I have." So now we're talking this. I graduated in 96. This happened like.
And where's he living?
Chicago. He lives 3 hours away.
Okay.
There's all kinds of shit, all kinds of things I can't explain. So, anyways, this is the story. He calls me out of the blue like a week later, and he's like, "Hey," I was like, "Yeah." He goes, what number were you? I go, oh my God. I go, dude, you wore number 34 when you went to Iowa State. So I wore number 34 for you.
Oh,
And he goes, that's what I thought. And I go, yeah. He goes, you were really good. And I was like, oh, I just wanted to split my head in half. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know what though? Do you have kids? You have kids, correct?
no, I don't have any kids.
You know, Joey, I have issues with that. Like guys like him, Dennis King, Mike Brown,
Yeah.
like they should have kids.
Yeah.
So he missed out on that. That is
Yeah, he did.
no,
Yeah, he
no,
did.
that's not on you. That should hurt him more than it hurts you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, I'll just say you got to know my dad. He's a different dude. But and you know when you talk about the kid thing, and there are things that like when you say things to me, there's kind of answers I already kind of want to give. But I take children really serious, you know.
Good.
Even just yesterday, I was this is kind of funny. Like I stopped at a store on the way home and I saw these kids. The one kid was on like a little e-bike and one kid had a skateboard, and the one kid's pulling the other kid by the the e-bike. He's on a skateboard. I was like, you guys go for it, man. You guys fucking just enjoy your summer, you know, like. And I was like, you guys want some money or something? They're like, yeah. So I gave them each $5. And what I'm saying is like, I remember those experiences as a kid, like being pulled around on my skateboard by my friend on his bike, you know, like those were the times that were so important to me
Yeah.
because I didn't have family. I never had a family. I never had anybody else. I only had my friends. And I take kids so seriously. And I think that's why I don't have kids is I see a lot of people just having children. Like, yeah, I got a kid. Where is he? Well, he's, you know, they
Yeah,
don't.
but that's why you should have a kid. That's why you should. Yeah.
Because you won't be like that.
Because you won't be like that. You would
Okay,
actually be a
but-
really good father. Yeah.
Yeah.
in modern day, like right now, my whole idea, even if okay, like let's say even if right now I'm not ready, like I just know I'm not ready.
You're never going to be ready.
You're never
You'll
ready.
never
You're just
be ready.
next.
No, I get that much. I get that much. What I'm saying is, like, let's say right now I'm totally not ready. I would still want to make plans for my kid's future, right?
Okay.
Mhm.
I've already got a counter to this. The counter is okay, but you're not a bitch. And
Right.
because you're not a bitch, what you do is you figure it out.
Yeah.
You're never going to be able to plan for it. You're
No.
never going to be ready. You just do it.
Okay, I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at is, and you're coming from the position of somebody who's already there. What I'm saying
but
is,
dealt with you. I was already there where you were at.
okay, I know, but what I'm saying is,
I was the same.
oh no, what I'm getting at is like your perspective right now is a little different from mine. I'm talking about meeting a person who's on the same level as me and
Okay,
understands
I,
we're gonna.
I got
That
a
is
counter for
important.
that. I have a counter for You're right. You're right. So my counter to this is when you meet a woman, and this is obviously not MMA related, when you meet a woman that has children, that has an a-hole for an ex, watch how she treats him. And if she treats him much better than she should, worst case scenario, she treats you exactly the same and everything's fine.
Yeah. Well,
There's your example.
I'm not going to be in that situation. So my point is, it's to find somebody on your equal plane where you both say, okay, even if we're not ready, we're gonna do this together, kind of thing.
That's cool. I 100% understand that. And you know what? You're being really responsible. That's for sure. That's for sure. May 21st, 2003, Joey, I was in attendance at this event. Judo is taking over the Midwest. They're actually trying to make a hard push to completely lock down mixed martial arts because of regulation and stuff like that. This guy fights at the Hammond Civic Center. Rafal Piszczek.
Was he a Polish guy?
Dude, this dude could take a flipping punch. Yes, off the bull Polak. Dude, Polish flags in the audience, chanting. It was nuts.
I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember this. What do you want? What's the question?
Hey, bro, this is your life. It's your fight. How does it come together? When do you kind of understand the magnitude of it? Because the audience, the building was about to explode.
Just so you guys know, my outlook on MMA, NHB, all this stuff. Like I said, I was flying by the seat of my pants. I never looked at it like, oh, I'm going to be a big time fighter. I was just doing it because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the competition. But going into that match, I think Tim Sylvia went with me to that match.
Okay, Tim Sylvia's in your corner, but do you know who's in Raphael's corner?
No.
Joey, who was the number one guy that we've never interviewed from my area that we want?
From your area.
Keith Hackney.
Oh,
He
God.
did have Keith Hackney.
Keith
Yes,
Hackney
he
was in his
did.
corner.
I remember that because Keith Hackney actually, he had his arm was in a sling. I remember this. His arm was in a sling. I think he had like shoulder surgery or something.
Yeah, he had rotator cuff surgery. Yeah.
Yes, I remember it. I do remember that.
These are all very important facts, ladies and gentlemen, for your history fans.
Yes.
Keith Hackney had rotator cuff surgery in 2003.
I remember this. Yes.
Adam Majewski was in his corner. You had Tim Sylvia, and I thought it was Jason Black there. I mean, I'm going from memory because there's no pictures or video of this event. But Sylvia obviously is Tim Sylvia, but you had one other person. I maybe it was Joe Jordan.
I do remember this. I remember this specifically.
So how hot was this crowd?
It was a good crowd, and it
Fuck.
wasn't it was a pretty good. I think it was like a gymnasium.
Yeah, it's Hammond Civic Center.
Gosh.
It's about a 5,000 seat venue, 5,500 seat
Yeah,
venue.
it
was almost sold out. Almost sold out.
It was a good event for sure.
Yeah.
So what I remember about that was Tim Sylvia's in my corner. My girlfriend went with me to this event. Now, you need to understand, I don't typically mix girlfriends and events, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. It's just
Too much.
It's just the wrong mixture of stuff. But my girlfriend insisted she wanted to go. And I think that because she was there, I think I was a little more under the gun. You know, I felt more pressure maybe like to win. And I was in great shape for that match. I was in great shape. And Jeff Curran and his boxing trainer were in my corner.
Mango.
He wears glasses.
Yeah, Mango. Okay, there you go.
He's Jeff Curran and his boxing trainer are in my corner with Tim Sylvia. We're fighting. I think we come back. Did I beat the guy in a second?
You beat him in a second, but dude,
Yeah.
there was 2 times in the first round where you hit him and his whole body moved.
I know.
Like you moved the entire all 100 and was it 85 pounds or
Yeah,
what was this?
I think we fought at 185.
You moved him.
Yeah, I cracked him. I cracked him a couple times.
I was ringside for this. If there's video, you'll definitely see me in it. And I remember watching that and just holding my head going, what the fuck? I can't believe he's still standing.
So I remember going back to my corner and I was gassed.
Yep.
Tim's just kind of give me a little Vaseline, it's water, you know. I remember this specifically. Curran's boxing trainer says, look at me. And he kind of, gives me the, smacks. And he's like, look at me. I look at him. I'm like, oh, yeah. He's like, hey. He's like, every time you throw your jab, he's covering. He goes, you throw the jab, throw the right hand behind it. So you jab, hook, same hand, jab, hook, same hand. And he's like screaming at me. And I think what I did was I jabbed, I feinted, and I threw the right hook, and the timing of it was insane. And I think I clipped him just so hard. But it was like I think I jabbed, feint, and then I threw the right hook, and I got him. And it was it was devastating.
Joey, this pullback, and I say that with absolute respect. I've never seen anybody live, like in person, take punches like him, because in between rounds, I was telling my then wife at the time, I go, that guy's gassing out. Like Drew McFedries, this Polish guy who just got destroyed that first round is going to win this fight because that guy's going to gas out.
I was tired.
And you figured a way out. I remember this fight because it made such an impression on me. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it was a matter of, I think it was the jab. And like I said, it was Curran's coach.
Dr. John Mango.
He said it specifically. He's like, he goes, every time you throw your jab, he's covering, and then he looks. He's like, he's covering, he looks. He goes, you got to throw the jab. He goes, you got to throw the right hook behind it. Throw the jab, throw the right hook. And he's like I told you, he kind of gave me the smacks a little bit to kind of make me pay attention. And I think what I did was I jabbed, I feinted the left, and then I threw the right hook behind it, and I got him. But it was all because of his coach told me what to do. I remember that.
From there, you go on to a current training partner, well, kind of off and on training partner, August 2nd, 2003, Steve Dow. So Steve Dow, super cool cat, man. He's one of my favorites.
What are you saying? Say that again.
Your next opponent, Steve Dow, a guy that actually spent a lot of time with Curran in the training room. Okay. Wasn't officially a part of Team Curran, but definitely hung out with those guys.
And this was this the one in Rock Island?
It was, yes.
Yeah. So what's the question? What's the question?
Well, here you got Steve Dow, also a guy who's not a joke. Like you're fighting pretty tough guys that are durable nails. This was actually in St. Charles. This was I think it was at the Ice Arena. I was at this one as well. Yeah, Gideon Ray fought Jason Medina. Yeah.
I remember this one as well, yeah.
Yeah, Jeremy Horn fought Bill Hill. That was cool. I really like watching Bill Hill. Mark Hughes fought. It's a really good card.
Yeah,
Bart Pelazewski fought Tom Kirk. Tommy Lee fought Mark. This is the event where Tommy Lee had Mark Homnick. He did like a fireman's carry, stood up, walked to the center of the ring, and spiked him on his head from his shoulders. I honestly thought Mark Homnick died. I honestly had thought, like, we need regulation because that is clearly something that shouldn't happen. Yeah. Eddie Wineland lost to Mustafa Husani. Yeah, dude, this is a freaking great card. Terry Martin knocked out Ron Fields.
It was a good show.
Yeah. Jay Estrada fought Jason West. Good card, dude. Real good card.
Yeah.
In a small little ice arena. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that. They put some kind of like foam down and then they put boards over it and then put the ring on top of that.
Right.
I remember that show.
Yeah, he knocked out Dow in a second round. I thought he went a little longer than I had expected. Brian Mane.
I think I won. It was like a ground and pound situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he had enough, which, dude, I totally understand that. Brian Monahan, you beat him, and you soon then get the call to the Ultimate Fighting Challenge.
Yep.
What was here? Wilson Govea drops out of a fight for UFC 65 against Alessio Sakara. You get the phone call. How does that happen?
What do you mean? How does it happen?
Well, you get the phone call. How does the phone call happen?
My manager called me.
Monty?
Monty Cox calls me. I just got home from practice. I was kind of hanging out with a buddy. There's a buddy of mine there. His name is Andrew as well. My name's Andrew. But buddy was with me. Andrew, he's sitting on the couch. Monty calls me and he's like, yeah, we had this guy drop out of a match. We're trying to get a match going. Do you want to take this match or not? I said, so what weight class? He goes, well, it's actually 205. I know you've been going 85, but he goes, I think it'd be a good matchup for you. And I said, okay. And Monty goes, well, when he said the name Alessio Sakara, I was like, clearly this guy is not from Iowa. You know?
Right.
I go, where's this guy from? He goes, Italy. And I go, and he's coming all the way to Iowa to fight me? I go, I don't think so. And he goes, you're right. He goes, the fight's in Las Vegas. And I go, okay. And he's like, and he goes, you're going to be fighting for the UFC. And I was like, no, he's like, yeah, you're going to be fighting for the UFC. He goes, do you want it or not? And it was, and just so you guys know, I took this match on 17 days notice. So,
and that includes getting your medicals done.
Oh yeah. I mean,
which is like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. I mean,
you have to take off for training. Yeah.
Physically, and just again, so we kind of, there's so much detail, but all these matches, all the way up even to the UFC, 9 times out of 10, I was not properly prepared. 9 times out of 10, I was not ready for the match. But Monty thought I was, and Monty said, do it. And, you know, I was like, hey, you know, like, am I going to get paid for this?
I mean, it's that last minute, up a weight class.
I was like, am I going to get paid for this? He's like, yeah, you're going to make some money. I was like, okay. And we hung up, and I turned to my buddy. He was sitting there, and I said, I'm going to the UFC. And my buddy was like, no. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, what kind of seats do you got?
Right.
Really good. Really good seats.
And right. And it was so wild. Like, I went into this with like no sponsors. I just took it on a whim. Monty said, you know, I think you'll do all right. He goes, even if you don't do all right, you'll do all right. But I was not in shape. I wasn't completely ready for that match. I knew that hands down, without a doubt. Most of these matches you guys talk about, I didn't have the cardio. I didn't really have the proper training.
Let me give you a little pushback. So you say you don't have cardio, and my response to that is, well, you were only throwing fastballs. Like you threw fastball after fastball. You can only throw so many fastballs before you got to throw a changeup, and you didn't throw changeups. Like you do the amount of I've seen you fight live, it changes you just watching it. Like you had said, it's easier to find a fight for a grappler than it is a striker, bro. I've seen it. I've seen it live.
I will say that I think that in the MMA world, most of the time I was underrated. Most of the time, they didn't know my athletic background, so they couldn't really judge me. And I don't think that it's like Robbie Lawler, to be honest. I think me and Robbie, we trained together for so long, we were very similar.
Well, you were always kind of shopped as the larger version of Robbie Lawler.
Some people would say that, and I think it's because we would hold pads for each other all the time. I mean, we worked together all the time.
Do you guys probably had a special bond because of high school?
Not special, but we were friends. You know, we were good. We were always friends, and you know, we kind of came up together in that. Like, he was actually ahead of me. He was younger than me, and he came up in MMA ahead of me. But athletically, I don't think that he didn't have the athletic background that I had going into it. But I think that people couldn't properly judge me, and I think that I was underrated most of the time. You know.
So you beat Alessio Sakara. You end up stopping him. I mean, that probably had been literally the greatest night of your life at that point.
It was a good moment.
Yeah.
Not the greatest. It was a good moment.
So based on like what we had discussed, you know, your father's non-existent, your mom's, you know, she's got her own agenda, you know, that doesn't include you.
My mom, again, I'll just clear the air. My mom was a drug addict and a prostitute. That is the truth. And it was very difficult to deal with.
I can't even imagine that, dude.
It was difficult. It was very difficult. And I know you guys don't want to say it. That's why I'm saying it. Like I'm not afraid of the truth, but that's the truth.
And that's a really hard life. And I tell you, addiction, it's cunning, it's baffling. You always hear those words with it. And it's so difficult. And it hurts so many people. It hurts so many people, not just the person using. And I mean, at this moment, I guarantee she was proud of you.
I can't say that.
That's fucked up.
Oh,
That's fucking crazy. That's fucked up.
I can't say that.
That's crazy. That's wow.
I'll tell you guys a good story. This is kind of like, to me, the epitome of, saying addiction is bad. Yeah, we know all that.
It's a never-ending trapdoor.
Yeah, but there's some of these individuals, they don't want help. They want to keep living the life they're living.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a little story to kind of give you some insight. And that, how we got to this point is like you were talking about my parents and where I was at that time, and my parents must be proud. No, it was never like that.
Oh.
So here's the deal. I want you guys to understand something. And that's why I just put it right out there to you. Like, hey, my mom is a drug addict. She's a prostitute. And I just want to air it out just because I know you guys aren't going to say it, but I'll just say it because it's the truth. So when I was in high school, just like the highlight reel thing I told you about my dad.
Yeah.
He was like, man, it's like, you were good, right? So I really worked hard when I was in high school. In my high school experience from my junior to my senior year, that summer was probably one of the toughest summers I've ever had in my life. I trained so hard, and just understand that as a young guy, I had never pushed myself to those levels yet. So later, it made it easier for me to do later. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Okay, so my first real experience with pushing myself to my limits was between my junior and senior year that summer, getting ready for football. So I train all summer. Football comes, just to throw a little extra on it. I get elected a team football captain, which was a monumental moment for me. It was monumental, like paramount, paramount to my situation. And we play like the first 5 games. We have the homecoming games coming up. And I go out and I have a great homecoming night in front of our home crowd. It was, and by the way, guys, the first game of our season, we played the neighboring city. First time I ever got a standing ovation in my life.
Bro. Okay. Standing ovations.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't think people can grasp like how rare and important something like that is. Like,
it was
99% of people in this world,
it was like
never even get to experience that.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm getting chills thinking about it. Like I remember I came off the field. So it's my first game of my senior year. We go play this neighboring city. I think I scored 4 touchdowns, 250 yards, something like that. And I think I have I could probably get the stats, but I think I had like 250 yards, 4 touchdowns. I came off the field and the crowd is going nuts. Like I come off the field like third quarter, like halfway through the third quarter. And I come off the field and I hear the whole crowd's going nuts. And I sit down. I'm a worn out dog at this point. I'm done. I'm toasted, right? And my coach he's a very important person to me. I can name many guys, but Mervyn Hobnick was the head coach, a very important person to me. Coach Randy Scott was the offensive line coach, very important guy. But Coach Randy Scott comes over and I'm bent over. I got my helmet on the ground, and I'm, I'm dog tired. And back then, like I said, I was 17 years old. I was pushing myself to my absolute limits. And if you guys ever see the video, I think you'll see that. You'll see it on video if you ever watch it. But Randy Scott comes over and I'm bent over and I'm just like drinking some water. Like I'm worn out. And Randy, he grabs me by my shoulder and he stands me up. And he's a big man. I mean, at that time, Randy Scott, he's a big dude. I mean, he's a monster of a man. And he grabs me by the jersey and he stands me up. And he says, "Stand up, son." And I stood up. I looked right at him. I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yes, sir." And he says, "Turn around." He goes, "They're cheering for you." And I didn't know what he was talking about. And he goes, "Those people, they're cheering for you right now." He goes, "Turn around and face the crowd." And I said, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." I turned around. I faced the crowd and they, everybody starts chanting. And I had my helmet in my hand. And I raised my helmet, and everyone's, yeah, everybody went crazy. And I was like, it was intense. It was so intense. But
I know several people that have told me it was their life's mission to get one standing ovation in their lifetime.
yeah,
And they're in their 50s and they've never accomplished it. And they've really went into the neighborhoods. They've really, really tried.
Yeah. So
that's wild.
And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to paint the picture of what football was to us and what it meant to me. And
wow.
So Sakara wasn't your best moment. This was.
It was definitely one of them. It was definitely one of the top charts.
Wow.
It was huge. So fast forward from that game, now we're at homecoming. This is I think our 5th or 6th game, and I had some great games, but homecoming, I'm living life so fast at that time, and
well, you're trying not to go home. You want to be at school. You want to be at practice. You don't want to be at home. Yeah.
There you go. So what you just said is so important because I don't think anybody ever knew. I had this reputation of people would be like, "Andrew McFedries just showed up at my house again." Like, hey, and they would call each other. I know they did. They would call each other and be like, "Hey, Andrew just stopped by here. He's going to come by your place too." Because I would go to all my friends' houses before I ever went home. I would never go home. I went home. That was the last choice, is going home.
Wow.
So fast forward from what I said, the first game, and it's homecoming. And I go out and I have a great game. And again, you can watch, if you ever watch the video, it was a good game and I did very well. I was beat up. I was really beat up. I was tired. I was exhausted. I mean, I really put in the effort. That night, after the game, I get cleaned up. It took me a long time just to get ready to get going home. I finally got ready and I got home and I was just so beat up and tired. And I had my backpack and I had another bag and I threw those over my shoulder and I walked in the back door and I went through the kitchen and coming through the living room and my mom is there. She's passed out on the couch. That was normal. It was late. It was probably like 11:30, midnight. I started up the stairs and I heard my mom say, "Hey," she heard me come in. I said, "Yeah." She said, "Come here. Can I talk to you for a second?" I said, "Yeah." So I put my bags down. I walk over to the couch. I say, "Hey, do you need something? You need some water or something? What's wrong?" She said, "Nothing's wrong." She said, "I talked to the neighbor the other day and he said you're doing pretty good in football or something." I said, "Yeah, Mom." I'm doing pretty good. I picked up my bags. I went upstairs. I went to bed.
Oh,
Yeah, and I mean, she had no idea. She had no idea. She's high all the time. She's
You
high.
missed it.
It's like she had no clue what I was doing.
that's fucking brutal.
But I mean, you could, again, to paint the picture, my dad had no clue. My mom had no clue. Most of my family members didn't. Everybody only knew because I was in the papers. I was in the paper every single week. Every week I was in the newspapers. Sometimes I'd be front page.
So December 23rd, 2007, you get news that your mom had passed.
My mom was murdered. She wasn't passed. She was murdered. It's pretty simple.
How does that phone call happen?
I was at home. Again, just to air some things out. I'd had many phone calls similar. Typically the hospital or the police or somebody would call me and I would have to go pick up my mom or identify my mom or something. That was kind of common. But I get this call, Davenport police, is this so and so? Yes, it is. And I already knew it was about my mom. There's no secret. They wouldn't be calling me because it was somebody else. Like,
Right.
so they started asking me questions like, where were you tonight? What have you been doing? Da, 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 da. I was like, listen, I was like, I don't have time for this. What do you want? What do you want? And they were like, well, can you come down to the police station? I go, I can, but you got to tell me what I'm coming there for, or I'm not coming. And the guy was like, well, this is about your mom. We need you to come down here. And I think it was maybe his tone. It was the way he said it that I already knew. I already knew before I went. And so when I got down there, they brought me into a room, it was just me. And again, I'm going to give credit to somebody. I was with a girl that I was seeing at that time, and she was with me. I never ever discredit anybody for being there for me or being there during a trying moment. She was there for me. And so they bring me in this room. It's me and two of these officers come in. So you see this on TV all the time, right? Like the first 24 kind of thing.
Well, dude, it's either you're wanted for a crime or they got to tell you some bad news. Yeah.
Yeah, I already knew. And I was like, what happened to my mom?
Oh,
They were like,
fuck.
well, because like I said, when he asked me to come down there, it was the way he was talking to me that I already knew something serious happened. So I said, what happened to my mom? And he goes, well, we need to ask you a few questions first. I said, listen, you don't have to ask me anything. I've been home all night. What happened to my mom? And they both kind of looked at each other and they were like, well, we believe that your mother was attacked. I go, if you believed my mom was attacked, I wouldn't be sitting here. What happened to my mom? And he was like, well, late last night, we found your mom dead.
Oh my fucking God.
He's like, well, you could have told me that first. And he goes, well, we have procedures and whatever else.
Yeah, trying to show you they're not used to somebody like you.
Oh, no. And it was a very odd experience. The whole process of it was a very, very odd experience. It didn't go like I thought it was going to go. Like, I think that my whole life I prepared myself for a moment like this. Not to say it was going to be my mom or anybody in particular, but I always thought I'd be prepared for something like this, and I wasn't. And I remained so calm I was shocked by that. And to describe, like, just kind of skip through it. Again, I was seeing somebody, she was there with me. We talked. I was calm. I didn't really have a whole lot of emotion towards it. And I didn't even understand it. We went through the visitation, we went through the funeral.
Did you go through the trial?
I never went to any trials. I got some calls, some detective calls, but I was pretty much out of the loop, you know. But there was no trial. She's one of Iowa's biggest cold cases.
So it's a cold case.
Yeah. There was no trial. But I did get some calls from detectives and things like that. But the one thing that I remember was them telling me, us going through the whole process, the visitation, the funeral. And I was driving home from the funeral, and I kept thinking to myself, like, why am I so calm? I didn't really have my heart didn't start beating fast. I didn't have any really big responses to it.
She's no longer in pain. Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. And I didn't figure that out until a couple days later. I think that my emotions were, I was feeling relief. That's what I was really feeling. I was feeling relief. And I that was the emotion I couldn't understand.
You know what, though? I think that's healthy. I think it's healthy, bro.
And the way I thought about it was,
She's finally at fucking peace.
there you go. There you go. So no more hospital visits, no more rehabs, no more jail, no more stitches in the face, no more black eyes, no more running the streets, no more drugs, no more drug dealers, no more. It's gone. It's over.
Yeah.
And you know, the funeral part, the visitation, the funeral was really difficult because I really and truly had to bite my tongue.
Oh my God, yeah. It's a line of enablers and people that took advantage, telling you how much they're going to miss your mother.
Or how great she was.
Oh, how great she was. Yeah.
And I was like,
Well, they contributed to that mess.
I was like, in my mind, any one of you people could have stopped her. Any one of you. And you didn't.
And you know what, Drew? Any one of those people could have said, you know what, man, this is a little out of control. She's got a house full of kids. Maybe we can't talk to her, but maybe we can grab these kids, get them fed, get them some clothes, do something. And you know, they never did that.
Nope.
You never had a pair of clothes that were new, ever.
Not really. I mean,
no. Coaches gave it to you.
When you say that, now I'm just gonna be honest. Again, I know I'm too honest for my own good most of the time. We had moments where, like, my mom was dating the local drug dealer or something. Ugh. And we got all the things we wanted.
Right.
And then we had the mom is dating or with the other drug addicts. So we had nothing, or all of our stuff got stolen.
Yeah, there went the stuff that you wanted, right?
Yeah. So
I didn't mean to laugh. I apologize, but it's true. Oh, yeah. How fucking shitty.
So we had moments like, you know, and I tell these stories to people, you know, and I'm not shy about it. I mean, if there was anything we were talking about and I just couldn't talk about it, I just wouldn't do it. But
yeah.
The times that, like, my mom was really running the streets hard, you know, we used to get food stamps, and you would get the real food coupons. There was no EBT cards.
Right.
You got the booklet with the actual food stamps. You had to tear them things out of there. they'd be gone. We didn't get any food.
Drug money.
Yeah. We didn't get any food. We didn't have clothes most of the time. We always had a place to live. I will say that about my grandparents. My grandparents always made sure we had a place to live. But we always did have a place to live. I don't ever remember being homeless or not having a place to go, but we missed some meals. And I usually had like my Monday through Friday clothes. That was about it.
Did you ever talk to your mom about maybe where the pain that she was experiencing, where it came from?
I mean, I have an idea, but we never had that conversation. And I'm being very honest. I had a conversation with my high school sweetheart about this, and this is years later. I think when you're young, you don't think about your parents' happiness. You don't think about their emotions. You don't think about their pain. You don't. And I don't think I did. Me and my mom argued and fought a lot, but I don't think we ever had that conversation, like about pain or anything.
What about yourself? Were you subjected to abuses outside of neglect?
All the time.
Oh,
But that's what I mean, like referring to when I said earlier.
you can't drink, dude. In all honesty, you can't drink.
I mean, I enjoy myself when it's like I'm a social drinker.
You shouldn't though.
I'm a social drinker. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not
but you're checking all the boxes for somebody that can hide the pain and bury the pain.
Okay, but
I mean, obviously you're not.
I've had all these conversations before.
Okay, then that's it. Then you know.
So when I was explaining earlier about me growing up, and you were talking about, oh, where did my hands come from, kind of thing, and I
dude.
I just said that the way I grew up, I had to learn and not just understand that it wasn't always about defending myself. I had two little sisters, and I had to defend me and my sisters. So at a very young age, I got in a lot of fist fights with older men, a lot of older guys. I took a lot of ass whoopings for sure. I took a lot of beatings, man. I took a lot of beatings. Like I got in fights. Like I was 8 to 10 years old. I was fighting grown men.
Joey, when you watch him punch.
Yeah,
it is a 100% commitment to murder. To murder. It is like, dude, you're committed to it. It's like you're waiting for an angle, you set it up, but when you see the kill, like there's no hesitation. Like you don't see that often.
I will say this. I know that as a fighter, as an MMA guy, as an athlete, when you say committed,
to the exchange,
yeah, there's not a lot of guys that are actually committed in stand up. And I'd be committed.
Yeah. And you're not even true. You're not even a stand-up guy. You're a guy that possessed stand-up, but you're not from like the Dutch kickboxing school in Holland with, you know what I mean? Like you didn't have the pedigree in Michael Nunn's gym. Honestly, I thought you came from Michael Nunn's gym or Jeff Perez. I couldn't figure it out.
No, and that's why I tried to explain that when I was young, really young, I got in a lot of fights with adult men most of the time that beat the shit out of me, like beat me the fuck up, like beat me up. Like that's really what it boils down to,
Wow. Joey, a couple of times, like when we've interviewed his past opponents, like Nate Quarry, we've said, look at his career. It looks charmed as compared to the rest of the Midwest guys.
Right.
It's because no one would fight him. Like no one would fight him. No one would fight him.
That's more the truth. Like Monty told me that nobody would fight me.
The average Midwest Iowa guy's got 20 fights before the UFC's even looking at him. And you had a few. Yeah.
Also, he accepted a last-minute fight too. That
helped too. Yeah.
So what Monty said was
up a weight class.
Monty told me all the time. Cause I would be, honestly, I was a little upset sometimes that like I needed the money. I did need the money if I was going to train as hard as I was training and diet and, like to eat properly and do all these things. It's not easy. And I told him, I said, if I'm going to do this, I need some money so I can buy the food and I can buy the supplements and things like that. And, he said, because I saw all these guys are getting matches, right? They're getting matches all the time. They're fighting every other week. And I'm like, why can't you match me like that? And he goes, nobody will fight you. He's like, nobody wants to fight a guy who throws punches. They just don't want to fight you.
Drew, I saw what you did to the Polish kid at the Hammond Civic Center, and it was frightening. Like it was frightening. Like it.
I was a young guy. I was a young man. I was much faster. I think as a younger man, I was much stronger and faster.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about a 21 or 22-year-old me.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I was a bouncer. Yeah, this guy on my YouTube, he's like, bouncer Drew. Yeah, bouncer.
Yeah, you've got a lot. You've got a lot. In fact, like the rest of your UFC career is interesting, as well as, I mean, you got attacked with a knife while bouncing. You got stabbed a bunch of times.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
We're Joey. This is like if we quantify it here, this is his road to the UFC. And if you look at his career after this, it's actually layerful in regards to other things that are incredibly fascinating. Departure from the gym, like there's Drew, out of respect to you, your story. I think that there's several people that we've interviewed that a Lifetime type TV series, should be like Dark Side of the Ring.
Right.
You know what? I'm going to reach out to the Dark Side of the Ring people on Vice. I can't say it can happen. They often ask me questions in regards to like different things that should be featured. I am going to recommend your story.
I appreciate that.
I would like to
call.
end it here due to the fact that from here forward, there's so much going on behind the scenes that we could take another 2 hours easy.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Can we get you back for a part 2?
Oh,
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, just like today, I just happened to have the time, and the only thing I could have done different today was go take my kayak out. That's about it.
Drew, I think you're underappreciated as a fighter, your contributions to the sport, but I think more importantly, your contributions to life.
Well,
Like, go ahead.
If it helps any, like I told you in this past like year and a half or so, I've had a lot of interaction with my YouTube channel.
Has that helped you?
I mean, me personally, I don't reach out for help, nor do I think the only way it might help me is like just to have some interaction because I mind my own damn business. I really do. I've learned to mind my business. So, but I do get a lot of younger guys come on my YouTube channel. I got a lot of subscribers who like to ask questions and things like that. And so the thing that I do preach a little bit, if I ever preach to anybody about anything, is your lifestyle. Like, just think about your lifestyle. Like, how do you feel about where you're at? Even if you don't have money, how do you feel about where you're at? If you have money, how do you feel about where you're at? If you have the girlfriend, how do you feel about her? What I'm saying is like, in my life, I think that one of the things that I've always done is I found some kind of calm wherever I was at, and that allowed me, I didn't want to be like everybody else. I I enjoyed time with other people, but I just wanted to be the best me. That was all I could do. I remember being very young and I just wanted to be the best version of me. I didn't want to have everything everybody else had. I didn't want to be like all the other kids. I just wanted to be me. And that's that, like um one conversation I had last week. All my friends got into gangs. Everybody wanted to be in a gang. And I was like, for what? Like, I didn't want to be like those kids. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you've got 3 siblings, a brother and 2 sisters, correct?
On my mom's side, yeah. I got 2 younger sisters and a younger brother.
That's who you grew up with.
Yes.
How many different fathers?
All of us.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Did anybody have a father in their life?
No. And again, I'm going to air this out. Like, there was a lot of drug dealer, pimp type individuals around. That's why I was getting into it with them all the time. I was like, I don't need you here, dude. You just make it worse. Right. And then we would get into it, me and whoever, whoever it was. And that led to altercations all the time. Arguments between me and my mom, arguments between me and these guys, whoever these guys were, you know. I had a
of course
guy,
you-
this I'll tell you a funny one. This guy came in, I always had a mouth, So like this guy came in, so I've been seeing your mom for a while now, and I think I'm gonna be your dad. And I was like, you know how many people tell me that? It's like you and everybody. I was like, you and everybody else. I was like, good luck, dude.
Yeah, spinning you a yarn. You're gonna give me hope. Oh my God.
What a joker. But what I'm saying is these were the kind of arguments. It was like a back and forth argument all the time between, I woke up, there's always I'd come home from school, some random dude at my house. Wake up in the morning, some random dude on the couch, some random dude in the bed, some random dude knocking at the door, some random dude hanging out outside the house, something. It's always like that. So what it led to was like me telling them, find your way out of here.
Yeah.
And
being the adult, you being the adult as a child. Yeah.
I mean, as I look back on it, I say, what I say is I was the brother dad. That's what I say.
Yeah.
I always say I was the brother dad.
I got a crazy question. So Mark Hansen was involved with the Miletich fighting systems, also somebody that was on the police department. Did he ever kind of pull you aside or have conversations with you? Did you guys ever have a relationship?
I know Mark. Our relationship is, when we see each other, is good most of the time. I don't know him privately. Like, we've never hung out as friends or anything like that.
He certainly had to have known your situation, though.
I'm sure he does, but he wouldn't talk to me like in a personal way. He wouldn't talk to me about it because of what he does, because of his position where he works. I think it would go against what he does at work.
No, not. I mean, you got a guy in the gym. He needs a little help. I don't know. I think it transcends that.
Not for him, and not for. There's a lot of. Trust me, bro. Let me tell you this straight out. When it came to like the night patrol, everybody knows who my mom is and what she does. There's no secrets.
Fuck. That's fucking hard.
It's the truth. It's just the truth. That's it. That's always been the reality. It's the truth.
Drew McFedries, I think if there was a speaking tour going around to like at-risk youth, I think you start to talk with a highlight reel of what it is you've accomplished, and then you go into your life story, because it is something that I think profoundly could help a lot of people that might not be able to digest the situations they're in and where it could go.
Yeah, I think the most important thing that if I talk to people today about their situations is finding the words for whatever your situation is. And that was the thing that was the biggest struggle for me anyway, was there was something wrong. And I knew that all the way up into my 20s, but I didn't really have a way to have a conversation about it. I couldn't have told you. Like, I couldn't have told you exactly what was wrong. It was just, that's the way my life was. And I didn't know any different.
Drew McFedries, dude, I told Joey, like from the beginning, I go, this is going to be a wild one.
Yeah.
Like, I think in part MMA probably saved your life. That dude, it
I
kept
don't
you
think
out.
so.
It kept you out of the streets, kept you up.
Well, I think that maybe I can see from your perspective, you could think that. But the people that I gravitate towards and the people that I would surround myself with, the places that I would go, the things that I was doing. Um, do you guys know this? He's a local guy. I don't know if you know him or not.
What?
Just putting it out there. Do you know Dale Rupplinger by chance?
No.
He was basically Mr. Universe bodybuilder.
Okay.
Was kind of the classic years with Arnold Schwarzenegger and them.
Okay.
He's, to be very honest, I think if he lived anywhere else, do you know like who Platts is? You know Platts?
Platts, I'm aware of. Yes.
Okay, so Dale would be like a Platts.
Okay.
Okay, so anyways, Dale lives here in the Quad Cities. I know his family. They've always been close with me. Like I knew his nephew, things like that. And me and Dale had this conversation because Dale, he's a in his time, he's a very strict bodybuilder. And me and Dale had this conversation years ago, and we were in the gym together, and he would just walked right over to me and he said, "Hey, what happened to you?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes,
I was
and I'm
born
like,
this way. What do you mean? What the fuck?
well, I'm going to get to the point.
Yeah,
I'm going to get to the point. So his nephew was my best friend. We're only about 3 months apart. He's about 3 months older than me. He's probably spent more than half his life in prison. And so Dale was saying, what happened to me? Like, why am I different? And because that was my neighborhood. My entire neighborhood was like that. Like, I got a buddy who got shot. He can't feel his right leg. You know what I mean? Like, I got multiple friends that have been shot. They're put in prison.
Michael Nunn. We talked about him earlier. Like
Yeah.
Davenport's a cesspool. Like it's a prison pipeline.
I'll tell you, when you say cesspool, I have a friend who uses that word all the time.
It's true.
He uses cesspool all the time. So the conversation was, why am I different? And I just said different choices, I guess. I just made different choices. The places I went, the people I decided to spend my time with. Maybe the people that influenced me were mostly my friends, but yeah, I think that's the only difference was like, I just wanted something different.
Yeah.
Like when people were like, "Hey man, dead serious, like we're going to go make this money." I'd be like, "You guys go ahead." Like,
Good luck on that. Yeah, good luck on
yeah,
that.
they'd be like, "Hey man, like, hey dude, we're gonna so and so did this to so and so. We're gonna go get him. Good luck. See you later." So
Yeah, you had too much bullshit at home. Yeah.
I mean, I guess I didn't. And I did have some really good friends along the way. I met some really good kids along the way, but yeah, this guy was asking me what made me different. And I think that ever since I was young, I just wanted to be a good person and make the best of myself, like just be a better person and make something of myself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So I just basically try to make different choices than I saw what the results were. It was, you do drugs, that's what you get right over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You run the streets, that's where you end up right there. And you drink too much, dude, that's where you end up right there. You drink too much. It was all right in front of me.
It's fucking wild. Jim McFedries, thank you for your time on a Sunday.
No
This will
problem.
be not this Monday, but the following Monday, this will drop. Thank you so much for your time, brother. Man, dude, this is a deep one.
Yeah,
A deep
no
one.
problem. No
Man,
problem.
I
Nice to meet you.
greatly
Thank you.
appreciate it. Great meeting you. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Heavy. He's describing Mike Tyson's childhood without Customado. You know, how did he not go down the wrong road is amazing.
Dude.
Yeah.
Man. All right. So
I didn't expect that. I expected to talk about his wins in the UFC, training with the Miletich guys. I had no idea it was going to go down that road.
right, let me give everybody kind of a peek behind the curtain. So where Joey and I sit, oftentimes, like, we have kind of ideas, we may have an understanding, but oftentimes we're just kind of piecing the dots together. We're like, maybe this dot connects over here or over there. So when you get a guy like Drew or somebody like Drew, oftentimes the most impactful and powerful question you can ask is when they get their flow going, you just throw a name out there.
Right.
And their answer oftentimes is funny, it's sad, it's interesting. There's going to be whatever, like when they prioritize what they think or their time with that person, or that's going to be the thing that comes out of their mouth.
Yeah.
When you kind of got them in their system. Mm-hmm. So for instance, oftentimes people would tell us, well, how did you guys get that? Well, oftentimes it's because we just threw a name that happens to be them. And this is the story that came out of that person's mouth. With Drew, whenever we did that, he paused and goes, so what's the question?
Yeah.
His defense is so high that in casual conversation, it's like a police interrogation to him where, no. What? So what's the question?
What do you want to know?
So what it is he's not only protecting himself, he's protecting that person. Like, we're not asking for dirt. We're not asking to sling mud. It's just, we got you in your rhythm. You understand, well, we're here. There's the name. I don't have to ask a question. Something really good's about to come.
Yeah.
Holy
that's a guy that grew up knowing not to tell cops too much.
Holy fuck.
It was a good one.
Joey, this was your recommendation? I think you pieced it together.
Sam Hoger, thank you for his phone number. By the way, your pick in the last UFC, I didn't win, so at least you made up for it with this.
Yeah. Sam, thank you. You won't be on our channel doing picks.
No.
But we'll take your
We're not doing the lock
interviews.
Okay. So people know, what's the guy's name? Hoke, the heavyweight.
Josh Hokett.
Yeah. He had me bet against Josh Hokett in the White House card, and it didn't go well.
And it was his lock.
Yeah, it was his lock, his pick of the week.
We got a couple things going on. I think by the time this airs, I hope all of our interviews, we've somehow got a commercial for a couple projects that we have, one of which is going to be a documentary that has already started filming. And we're going to crowdfund it. We're going to need everybody's help. So it's going to be about the Rafal Quarry, Gerald Strebent situation in regards to the murders. And I don't know. The link is going to be in the bio. Guys, here we go. You share this link and you give us a review. Prove it to us. Review on Spotify or Apple. You prove it to us. Send us a message with your address, yellow card, and sticker. That's right. And a sticker. So, Joey, I think this intro.
Yeah. I'm going to have to take my time.
You're going to bring that home. You're going to bring this one home, boy. Yeah, because it takes a minute for us to get there.
Yeah. This one went deep.
Joey, take care, brother.
See you
soon. Yep.